so we're ready to go. Hope you guys are having a good day. It's Dave Duford here at Final Expense Agent Mentor, FEAgentmentor.com for yet another no BS Final Expense live training session. And as my little promo yesterday entailed, it is all about, hello, anybody there? Door knocking. So we're going to talk about door knocking today and really give you the basics on how to door knock your leads. We're not going to talk about door knocking cold. That's something that I have minimal to no experience in. There are others who do it much better than I would. But I do have plenty of experience on how to door knock your direct mail final expense leads, as well as any other kind of lead for that matter. So the way I'm going to start the training today is to give you some head game training. This is very important when it comes to sales. Sales, if you really think about what we do as final expense salespeople, we create something out of nothing. We don't work a intense manual job where we trade our time for an exact amount of wage. We go out every day unemployed. We don't have anybody necessarily or any indication or certainty that anybody is going to buy from us. So when we go out and work, everything that we do is an entire head game. And we've got to keep our psychological profile in check in order to make sure we're doing the best job that we can over a successful, continuous period of time. And door knocking is the key mind game that you must master. You see, when you do door knocking, you're knocking on strangers' doors. It doesn't matter if you got a lead in hand, it's still a stranger. And you got to not let the psychological stuff get to you. And so where I'm going with this is that it's important to understand when you're door knocking your leads, you have to take the position that your leads are soliciting you. It's not the other way around. They sent the card in, right? You got to think about this. You were just sitting around on a Friday afternoon watching Dave talk about some final expense topic, and here comes some sort of direct mail lead. You didn't ask for them to send it back. You didn't say they had to send it back. Well, now you got to get off your butt and go do something. And showing up at their house is what they want. That's why they send the card off. And the reason I'm so confident in saying that is because they get these cards all the time, man. They get them constantly. They've gotten them for years, and I would wager they've had people like you in their house already that door knocked them to begin with. So where I'm going with this is that you have to think of your leads like that in order to have the right psychological profile to successfully sell and successfully door knock your final expense leads. They are soliciting you. That's what you have to remember. So some door knocking tips I wanted to share with this little training program today. First of all, my preference overall is to door knock starting in the morning right around 11 o'clock. I never started much earlier than that. I'm sure there's people out there that start earlier than that. Whenever I started earlier, I did pull people out of bed. They're in their moo-moos. They're half asleep, okay? They're half asleep through the day anyway most of the time, but they're really almost asleep. So what I'm saying by that is I never like to start earlier personally. So what I did was I started around 11. They're up and at 'em. They've had breakfast. They're usually somewhat awake, and they can have an intelligent conversation about what it is that I do. As far as when I end door knocking, I usually end at sundown, and that depends where you live, of course. I don't like to door knock little old ladies after the sun goes down. It's a little creepy. They don't like it. It ain't good for them, and I may not have a chance to get back at them. As well, another thing you want to do when you door knock, you always want to door knock your younger leads in the evening and your older leads in the morning. Why is that? The simple reason is because the younger people probably work. And you can spend a lot of time behind the wheel, knocking on doors, with nobody answering because they're all at work. Whereas the people who are in their 60s and 70s and beyond, bottom line with them is that they're all pretty much retired. And if they're not at the doctors, usually they're hanging around the house. So it's a higher chance you're going to convert appointments from those knocks if you do that. As far as prime time for door knocking, bottom line, the best time to door knock is any time, I would say 3 to 4 o'clock and beyond. I still think you need to door knock earlier, But if you start at 3 or 4, you go as long as you can, that's going to result, I think, in the highest conversions from door knocking to appointment. So I think it's worth your time to really focus on that. As far as how to door knock, just a few tips on what I like to do and what I teach. The first thing is when you pull up, I always want to give the perception that I'm just there for a second. I pull into the driveway, I leave my car on. I always door knock with a firm, hard door knock. You know, if you can hear that. I don't do a little tepid, mousy type of knock. I want them to know that I am here. It is urgent. They get to the door and they need to talk to me. Okay, so I want to communicate it like that. When they answer the door, my whole pitch is very laid back. If you've ever sold with me on a ride along, or if you've ever listened to my sales calls, you all know the way that I do this is very low key. I am not the guy that does the 2-step shuffle like a lot of combined agents were taught. I don't stick my butt in the the glass door waiting with the stuff for them to look at when they open the door. I'm very laid back. I knock on the door. I'm 6 foot tall. I take a few steps back, down the stair if I have to get a little lower to their level. And when they open the door, I introduce myself, and I simply tell them, look, my name's Dave Duford. The reason I'm here is because you sent this card in, or you put your name on we called you and you requested information over the phone about burial insurance. I'm the agent responsible for delivering that information. I need 5 minutes to show you what this is about and give you the information you requested. I keep it very low key. I let them know why I'm there. I make no bones about it. I'm not there to say, hey, I'm here because you sent this, can I come in? I explain it a little bit to them at the door. And what you'll find is that even though there's this progression in what you say and kind of the whole process in doing it, the funny thing is that half the time you're going through the script, the door's wide open. They're waiting for you to shut up and just walk in the door. It's kind of funny like that. It's hard to believe, but that's the way these people are. So a lot of this, bottom line, comes down to just doing it. You can't just, sit around in your house or your car and not expect to make a lot of money. You got to go out there and see people. You got to knock on doors. And the thing is, when you're door knocking, again, some agents have this perception that it's really hard to do, and it's not. And when you door knock, first of all, very few people are jerk-offs when you're face-to-face with them. It's very much easier to tell someone to go to hell over the phone than in person, because now you see a real live person that obviously is trying to help people to do good and doesn't look like a schlep. So the response they're going to get is a lot less vindictive, and in many cases will let you in because you bothered to show up. So get that head junk out of your head if you're afraid of any kind of door knocking. It really isn't a big deal. You can door knock, and it doesn't matter where you door knock it. It could be poor houses, projects, trailer parks, middle-class homes. The people and their responses are pretty much all the same. Look, you're there because they solicited you, all right? That's the bottom line. And you're just there to help them. You're not there, as you know, you're a good person. You're not there to go in there and rip them off or treat them badly. You're just there to do your job as a salesperson, to show them exactly, bottom line, what you do and how maybe you can help them. So door knocking is very critical to your success. And I'll leave you with this, because this is very important to understand in the final expense arena specifically. When it comes to door knocking, you have to understand door knocking, those that do it, let me rephrase this. The difference between mediocrity and the difference between making 4-to-1, 5-to-1 on your return on investment off your final expense leads, or even more, the difference many times is those who door knock can get those higher levels than those who don't. The ones that struggle invariably in this business think that the golden goose is an appointment setter, and that all they have to do is sit back and wait for appointments to be set. If it were that easy, everybody would be doing it in this business, and everybody would be doing this business. Invariably, commissions would be lower. There wouldn't be as much upside for the guys to get out there and knock at the doors and knock on the doors. So it's important you understand you got to show up. If you want to increase your odds for success, The guys that are staying in this business longer than 6 months, 12 months, and longer are doing door knocking diligently all the time between their preset appointments, whether they use an appointment setter or not. They're door knocking because that's how they squeeze the extra money out of the deals, out of the leads, in order to get really good financial results. So last thing that I'll say when it comes to door knocking, you can door knock any kind of lead. It doesn't have to be direct mail. One of the things you learn in this business over time is all a lead is, well, to an extent. Leads are important, the type of leads especially, but a lead is a crutch. It gives you leverage, okay, and it lets you get more ability to get in the door. But, you know, the kind of typical thought process is direct mail is the only way you can do that. You could easily use any kind of lead, whether they be telemarketing leads, avatar leads, internet leads even, door knock them. You know, they don't care. TV leads. There's people door knocking all of these leads. And the bottom line is that if they've expressed interest, if you show up regardless of what it is that they had an interest in, they're going to have and allow you to come in and talk to them and give you information to try to help you out if they can. So that's pretty much it on door knocking. Don't have anything else for you today. If you have any questions or comments about the final expense business, I would highly recommend that in the comments box below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching this on Facebook, leave me some questions or comments. The biggest thing I like about this particular medium is that it's user engagement focused, meaning what I talk about are questions that I get from my agents in the mentorship program. They're questions from agents that I don't work with, but watch my stuff on YouTube or check out my website at feagentmentor.com or watch my live stream. And I like to take what people think are important, not necessarily what I think is important, and develop training along that route so that I can help a lot of people, because many times the questions you have, everybody has. And somebody finally says, okay, I'm going to ask a question. It's going to help a ton of people. So ask a question if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this after the fact, no problem. Just post a question down here at the bottom. And in the next week's video, I will go ahead and answer those questions that you have and hopefully cater a cool live program around it. So as always, thank you for your time. If this is the first time watching this, my name is David Duford at Final Expense Agent Mentor. I work in the final expense business. I train agents who are new or experienced on being successful in final expense. I also help agents out with leads, with appointment setting, and I also have a book, if you're interested in, called The Official Guide to Selling Final Expense Insurance. It's #1 on Amazon if you put in final expense. You're more than welcome to investigate any and all of those great things that I offer, and I hope you enjoyed this wonderful, lovely final expense training session. Again, thanks so much for listening. Guys, take care and have a good weekend, okay? Thank you.